Check, check. 1, 2, check, check. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to this live stream composer breakdown of the new album that just came out, which is Battle and Triumph. This has been a joyous little project of mine that I've been doing on the side, on top of everything else that I've been doing, which is with Small Town Titans, of course, Lucille and the Wolf, my voice acting stuff, and also my voice coaching as well. In the middle of all that, and also a global pandemic and all kinds of craziness happening in the world, I decided to write my first orchestral album and put it out today. So I'm also trying something new on behalf of the band. I am being a guinea pig here and live streaming on multiple platforms right now. So, all right, I see some chats coming through here. Trace, cool. I'm glad you're going to be tuning in here. Hi, Sandy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And then Chad says, Phil, is there nothing you cannot do? I can't wiggle my left ear. And trust me, there are plenty of things that I cannot do. Athletically, just ask Ben Giles. So, yeah, there's plenty of things that I cannot do. It is very true. So, let me know how the stream is looking here. I will try to keep track of the chat, see if it's coming through properly. Let's see. Okay, so cool. Yeah, it looks like I'll have to check into the Facebook chat and then check into the other chat just in case I see any other comments going by. Detecting Rods and Reels on YouTube says looks good on YouTube. Awesome. Very good. Glad to hear that. Okay, so with all of that said, I am going to minimize this window, which you cannot see at the moment, but I'm going to zoom myself out here and you can take a look. Okay, so before I play the tracks, I wanted you to take a look at the whole album minus the Siege. The Siege is not on this instance, unfortunately, because that's actually the very first piece that I wrote that was a part of this, and I actually made the decision last minute to make it a part of this album because I felt like it really fit, but it wasn't originally a part of this album. So, but just because of the nature of how it was written, it took way more time for me to like import everything from that session and put it into this one. But as you can see, everything's grayed out because if I activate everything, it means that my computer will crash or the software will crash. So this is essentially everything. You've got your brass and 13 of the 14 tracks here. Your brass, your violins, your woodwinds, your percussion, your voices, also other stuff going on here. I recorded some vocals of my own, and also Lucy is in there as well. And then you also have effects like sub hits and different types of horns and other things that are like, supposed to be kind of jarring and mess around with the panning back and forth. So all of it is in here with the exception of one other song. So what happens then is what I will do is, taking a look at all the buses and all the mix chains, I will export at least one track, or like I export at least one track by doing this, exporting it, and then it ends up in this area. Hold on one second. I'm forgetting momentarily how to get to the other project. It bounces down to this. So now to get into some background as how this all started, the Siege, again, was the very first piece that I wrote that was part of this series. And I had no idea that this would be a part of this series when I wrote it. So we can take a listen to that a little bit, talk about the good parts of it. And essentially I'm going to go through each song as I recorded it and kind of break down the reasons why I wrote certain things, themes that I reintroduced, the reasons why I did it, and the fact that I essentially wrote I wrote a soundtrack for a movie and or a video game that does not exist. So it was an exercise in storytelling without a specific plot. So given that, let's take a listen to the very first piece that I wrote that's a part of the series. Not the first song on the album, but the first piece that I wrote. This was sometime in January of 2020 that I wrote this. So yeah, that is the one that started it all. It was an exercise that I recorded and did on, let's see here. Let me pull up the, oh crud. Yeah, I called it, the initial thing that I called it was exercise. Yeah, I called it an exercise. Exercise. Oh, was it? Why is it not coming up? Okay, that's weird. Is it in here? Yeah. Yep, Exercise 12920. That's what I called it, but then I ended up calling it The Siege. So that was the very first recording that was a part of this. The second that I did was originally a 30-second piece that I did for what was a composer challenge in one of the Facebook groups here on this platform. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're not, all good in the hood. But this is the second track, and you may notice some similarities between The Siege as well as Only Wrath and Savagery. And this is when I started getting inspired to write some more music in this style. This was written in March of 2020, right around the time that things started getting crazy around the world. So you can kind of think of it in that sense, how the timing was kind of perfect for being able to write a whole orchestral album. So here we go. This is Only Wrath and Savagery. And there we go. That is those two pieces that I wrote, The Siege and Only Wrath and Savagery, are the two pieces that got this all started. So yeah, and as you can see, like I said, unfortunately it's grayed out, because if I enabled these, then it would crash the computer. But so yeah, Only Wrath and Savagery was written. You can see all the different parts that I wrote: the percussion, the choirs, the strings, the brass, the effects. And then I moved on to a piece that I called Will You Face Darkness at the time, and I actually did a cool little voiceover thing with it as well. But it actually ended up becoming the title track to this album. And so we're going to go ahead and we are going to play that for a second. And I don't want to waste everyone's time playing every single song here because I don't want to end up boring everybody. But this was originally called Will You Face Darkness, and this is kind of when I started getting the idea of putting a story together and reordered the music in such a way that it had a storyline and started building some themes. So yeah, let's go ahead and play the title track. It was called Will You Face Darkness, but now it is called Battle and Triumph. Here we go. All right. So that, which was what it was called, Will You Face Darkness, ended up being the title track for Battle and Triumph. So that da 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 da, that became the main tune, the main theme of this entire endeavor. And then after that, it was just off to the races. So let's take a look and see which one I did next, because I'm not quite sure. So after that, yes, and this is what started it. So now I had written Battle and Triumph, and now I moved on to Barbarian Horde. And this is where I started thinking about the storyline and actually started, imagining what this story would be. And I just thought to myself, it'd be really cool if it was kind of like a fantasy-based Lord of the Rings type of thing, and maybe like a little bit of Vikings and Assassin's Creed Valhalla in there, all that good stuff. And I decided that this piece would have something to do with some barbarian ships coming in to land on the kingdom, and they think there's only like one or two, and they start chasing the scouts, and then they end up seeing that there's 1,000 of them coming their way. So I'm going to play this and see if you can't pick up on the variation of the main theme, and see if you can't hear some, and I'll also talk about some other themes as well. And let's go to it. So this right here is Barbarian Horde in its entirety, like right here. This is what Barbarian Horde is. Okay, and then we're gonna go, so let's imagine that I bounced it and took it to the project where the mixing and mastering, more mixing and mastering happens with the project here. So it's all bounced down, and here we go. By the way, if you are bored by what I'm doing here, just let me know. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Sandy. That was a fun one to write. I was thinking of like Viking pirates. You know, it was just, I have a very active imagination. By the way, how does it sound out there? Can you, like, is it loud enough? Can you hear me talk? Is it all good out there? I'd like to know. I would very much like to know, if everything's sounding good out there. If not, I will turn up some things and make some magic happen. Otherwise, we will move on. So, now comes the exercise of building new themes, because movies and video games are full of all kinds of characters. They're full of all kinds of situations. They're all full of all kinds of themes and variations on already existing themes. So that's the reason why I added a variation on the main theme right here. It's not as heroic anymore. It's twisted. It's scared. It's not as balanced because there's a new invader in town. There's a new set of scary people in town. So. All right, and my dog is here, and I think my fiance just got home. So, but yeah. Dressler says all good, awesome. Sandy says sounds good on my end. Chad says I hear Conan the Barbarian whooping ass. That's great. Yeah, Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, because that's how he talks. That's exactly how he talks. But anyway, yeah. Go get Mommy, Jackson. Good boy. All right, so yeah, that was Barbarian Horde, rather. And let's take a look and see what I wrote next. I think everything from this point was done chronologically. There's very little to no jumping back and forth. So I'm not going to play every single tune on this. Oh, okay, yeah, there was a little bit of, there were a few things that I did out of order. A Vision of Things to Come, I wrote next. And by the way, you can find this all on your favorite streaming service, whether it be Spotify, Apple Music, here on YouTube, wherever it might be, you will find Battle and Triumph by yours truly, Phillip Nathaniel Freeman. So given that little plug there. So let me take a look here. All right. So not to get ahead of myself. Yeah. So I wrote A Vision of Things to Come next, even though it appears as track 5. So, and then let's see, what is that? What am I looking at here? Assemble the Alliance, which I ended up being, titling, Send for Our Allies. So, I switched the order of those two in the final take of everything. And then the Siege would have been right here in this session, but obviously that was written first and in a different project file, so it is not here. Otherwise, it would be right here with all its crazy lines and blocks and all that stuff. And then after that, The High Cost of a Small Victory, Night Ambush, that was a ton of fun to write. And I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and play that one. How about it? And you may notice that there's a return of some themes in that one. There's also a bunch of themes. There's also a really nice theme that builds in A Vision of Things. And you know what? On second thought, we're going to play A Vision of Things to Come, because there's some stuff that happens in this piece that appears in later tracks coming up. So, and like I said, I'm not going to play every single one, but I want to at least give you a taste of Act 1 of this stuff. So here we go. Vision of Things to Come. creepy sounds that I made with my voice. That type of stuff. Pretending to be a savage. And then a returning theme from Only Wrath and Savagery here. So you can see that themes are starting to blend together. New themes are starting to be introduced. And that just starts, it starts coagulating and becoming more complex and more interwoven as time goes on. There's a nice little return to the main theme in High Cost of a Small Victory, which comes right after the siege. Same thing in Night Ambush. I will go ahead and play Night Ambush, and then I think I will end it with a little bit of A Kingdom's Reciprocity, and then I'll leave the rest of the listening to you when you go check out the album if you haven't done so already. And for those of you who have, thank you. It's super awesome. It's super awesome to get your support and to get your listening ears, and the fact that you are cool with this, because this is beyond nerdy. This is like super nerd on steroids. I play with a computer to make these sounds. And it's not even like cool beats that, like, with sub hits. Well, there are sub hits in this album, but it's not something you hear on a pop album or a rap album, which I would love to do that too. That would be so much fun, and that's definitely something on my bucket list as well. But I just have such a passion for orchestral music, and the fact that and I say this in every single video that I do when it comes to composing, the fact that technology has gotten so far and so immensely accessible and crazy, it boggles my mind. I'm like a kid in a candy store, and there's just so much you can do with it, with basic knowledge of music theory and technology. It's just amazing. It's just amazing what's out there. So all right, so let's play some Night Ambush. Okay, so you have the siege right here. The barbarians are coming for the city. They've landed. They're fighting across the land, but now they've reached the city. The city defended it. They had a high cost of troops, but now the barbarians sneak in. You probably hear some similarities in this piece to Only Wrath and Savagery. Oh, and special note for those of you who know my fiance Lucy, she may or may not be making an appearance in this track. But not yet. Right here. Yeah. Yeah. She did a wonderful job with that. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to do that piece. And you might have noticed some similar things going on. That da ba 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 ba. That was in A Vision of Things to Come, I believe. No, that's in Send for Our. Never mind. I'm gonna get lost here, and I don't want to lose everybody as well. So there's all kinds of things keep getting more complex. A couple more new themes are brought in, and we're getting towards the end of the album. The last one that I'm going to leave you with today, before I talk about just a few things and some housekeeping notes and some thank yous and all that good stuff. I'm going to leave you with A Kingdom's Reciprocity, which is track 12 on the record. So here we go. You might notice that there's a little bit of the from the Siege right there. Throat singing is a lot of fun. Not exactly the best thing to hear your voice, though. And there you go, everybody. That's I would say a good taste of at least half of this 14-track album that I started in January accidentally, and then picked it up again in March accidentally, and then after writing one more track, I just went down this crazy road of doing this because I've been doing this orchestral stuff, this virtual orchestration since 2017. I watched a video by a guy by the name of Guy McElmore or Mitchellmore. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but Guy, my friend. And I'm so sorry I'm butchering your name. Whatever it might be, thank you so much for being the first series of videos that I watched, being a fresh, completely green person to this about 2.5 years ago in October of 2017. You made me realize what you can do with a computer and sample libraries. It was pretty amazing. And the fact that I could do that with PreSonus Studio One Professional made it even better. PreSonus has a lot of great software. And on top of that, I would like to also thank the sample library companies that helped me create this album. The one that I started on, the entry level. It's a great entry level sample library for somebody who's getting started. Sonoscore's The Orchestra, and also the upgrade to the Orchestra Complete Sonoscore. Thank you so much for being a part of, for providing the bulk of the samples that are in this album. And for those of you who are interested in doing this type of composition stuff, I would definitely check out Sonoscore and what they have to offer. They have some great products for a relatively reasonable price. On top of that, Sound Iron, especially the Mars Men's Choir, amazing stuff. Audio Imperia for their freebies, amazing freebies, awesome stuff. As well as East West for their Composer Cloud, which for a minimal monthly fee, you get access to all kinds of instruments that you can download and license on a monthly basis, which made it possible to compose with many of the choirs that you hear on here, lots of the low hits, the fact that there's bagpipes in here, all kinds of great stuff. And also to all the amazing sample libraries that are out there that are offering free content, free instruments through the Contact platform and otherwise. Greatly appreciate the fact that you are contributing to the musical community and allowing us to create free of charge. It's pretty amazing. All that it's costing us is the time to download it and start tinkering around with it, which is amazing. So also to Contact. The platform Contact. That's essentially like Photoshop for the keyboard. It's an amazing tool that allows for a lot of creation. A lot of musicians build free instruments using the Contact platform. So thank you so much for making it so amazing. Creating such amazing opportunities for musicians to be able to paint with a much broader canvas than has ever been possible in the history of the world, in the history of humankind. It's amazing. And just some other inspirational composers that I like to mention. But I'll mention them in later videos because there's so many to pick from. But Guy, of course, I wanted to thank him. I also wanted to thank Daniel Baum because he's a fantastic composer, and he's actually one of the few that have taken the time to correspond with me on a regular basis. And it wasn't just one of those things where he wrote a sentence back about questions that I had. He would take time to, and has continued to take time to reply with a lot of feedback. And so thank you very much, Daniel, for all of that feedback and encouragement. Also, a big shout out to David Yousefi for getting my foot in the door with this composition stuff. It's amazing that we've been able to work together on compositions, and the fact that I've been able to lend my voice to some of your work. It's pretty amazing that you gave me the chance to. It gave me the chance to do that. Also to my band, Small Town Titans, Johnny, Ben, thank you for tolerating this nerdy side project that I have. I hope you enjoy the fact that this is something that I do. This is like pretty much my version of a video game. It's something that I do that I'm obsessed with, that I really enjoy in my spare time, and it's cool that you guys are cool with it, So also to my lovely fiance Lucy for tolerating the time and understanding and being super supportive of the time I take to do this. With everything that we balance as business partners, as a couple, as dog parents, and all the other things that we're doing. It's amazing to be able to have the time to do this type of stuff. So I thank you, Lucy, and I love you. You're probably in the living room, so I'll be able to tell you in person when when this is done. And also, last but not least, and I apologize if I've forgotten anybody in that list, thanks to you. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this and enjoying the music, enjoying this little side project that I have going on. You know, it's one of those things where I decided that this is something that I wanted to release, whether it sounded great, whether it sounded bad, whether you know, I still have so much to learn as a composer and as someone who mixes and masters their own music. And I've made a lot of mistakes through trial and error. There are releases that I've self-produced for Small Town Titans that I listen to now after doing these orchestral compositions, and I think to myself, ooh, I could have mixed that way better. So it's been an amazing opportunity to hone my skill set with all of that. Another person that I want to shout out to is Sasha Noor, who is another amazing composer that has also taken the time to correspond with me recently. So huge shout out to you, Sasha. Thank you. And to all of the other composers out there, I hope you find this inspirational. I hope that all of you watching have had fun watching this, and that you go check out Battle and Triumph on all the streaming platforms across the world. Wherever music is streamed, you can find Battle and Triumph by yours truly, Phillip Nathaniel Freeman. I appreciate you indulging me and letting you into my little crazy digital world of music. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to private message me on Facebook, email me, hit me up in the comments on Twitter or even Twitch. This is being multicast across I said across. I never say across. Anyway, across all these platforms. Yeah, feel free to drop a line and say hello. Ask some questions because this was a lot of fun, and I don't plan on stopping music anytime soon. Whether it be voice coaching, Lucio and the Wolf, Small Town Titans, music composing, or doing voice acting. Those are 5 things that I've been doing consistently for the last few months, let alone the last few years, and it's been absolutely amazing and super rewarding. So I have all of you who are watching to thank for that. So, all right. All right, and I'm just looking at the comments here. Chat, I will check that out. Thank you. Sandy, bless you. All right, everybody. Please check out the link in the descriptions of the video. Wherever you might be watching this, you will find information on how you can stream the rest of this album. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off with all of you beautiful people. And hope you enjoy the rest of your evening and that you have an amazingly and fantastic weekend ahead. Take care, everybody. Peace.